Well, we're here at the Landlord and Letting Show in Manchester ahead of the Tenant Tax Summit in London tomorrow. A huge rally, landlords and people across the private rented sector coming together to challenge the government's changes to taxation for the sector. There's been some fantastic developments recently. At long last, we're beginning to get some Conservative MPs putting their heads above the parapet and challenging the government's policy. And that's down in no small part to some of the work that the Residential Landlords Association has been doing. We've met dozens of Conservative MPs and Labour MPs over the last few months. We've met peers, Conservative peers and independent peers, to put the case that these tax changes will be damaging to private renting, that costs will simply be passed on to tenants, there'll be less investment in private rented housing at the very time when demand is really growing. In London alone, it's predicted in 10 years' time that up to 60% of people could be living in private rented accommodation. Yet these tax changes that the government introduce will either cut supply, stop investment in property and reduce standards and conditions within private rented property, or lead to rent increases. So we've been working really hard to get across to members of Parliament that this really isn't about helping out greedy landlords. It's actually about ensuring that our housing sector provides the range and sort of housing that tenants need at an affordable price. And we now have Conservative MPs like David Jones, the former Welsh Secretary, Mark Field, and Graham Brady, who's chair of the incredibly influential 1922 committee of backbench MPs, now publicly questioning the government's policy. So it's really important that we keep that pressure up on Conservative MPs. There's 65 Conservative MPs with majorities of less than 5,000. And that's really important because on average, every constituency will have 2,500 landlords living there. And that means that 2,500 landlords can overturn a 5,000 majority. So if you want to help campaign against these tax changes on private renting, independent landlords and the buy-to-let sector, please take the trouble to visit the RLA website and write to your MP, particularly if it's one of those 65 marginal Conservative MPs, or better still, go to our website. We've got a guide on how to meet your MP, the sort of questions to ask. Go ask your MP for a meeting, meet him face to face and tell him how these changes are impacting on your business and the tenants that you supply safe, legal and secure housing to.